Hi, and welcome to The Late Show with NBC. We're your hosts, Katie Mitchell.
And I'm Emily Mebin.
And we are here today with Robby Motz, the host of the popular YouTube show Equals 3. Robby, thank you so much for being here and being back on campus. Welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little tired from like the jet lag and all that, but it's good to be here. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, I know.
They know that we had acting classes together, right?
We go way back to acting
Yeah,
one.
man. Yeah.
Our acting one days.
Yeah. So like the start of it all.
And now we have a famous friend.
Say we knew you back when.
Back when, yeah.
We saw him in his first stages.
So how does it feel to be back on campus? Is it weird?
It is a little bit, it's strange. I mean, it kind of is like this putting right in front of me like where I would be if I didn't do Equals 3. It's like, oh, this is what you're passing up. And I'm like, oh, right. And it is a little bit strange to kind of get back with friends and they've been going through all these experiences. And it feels like I've been gone for like 3 years and it's really only been like 8 months. But it feels like so much has happened that like, I don't know. It's hard to convey all that.
Well, you've been crazy busy.
Yeah, and crazy. I mean, just in a crazy transition too. I mean, like, I was busy when I was on Muhlenberg, but not quite as like emotionally confused. Like, what am I doing with my life? Because you get out into the real world and there's suddenly no track, right? You know, school kind of has like a set track, and then the real world is just super open-ended, and it's whatever you want to do. So that's been a really challenging, but it's been a good transition.
How did it feel finding out that you were going to be the new host of Equals 3? And I mean, you kind of had to take over for Ray William Johnson, who was the original host.
Yeah.
Was that scary?
No, it wasn't scary at all. It was great. No, it was super scary. And at first, like with the audition process, I didn't actually know 100% what I was auditioning for. So when I finally got the call that I was their top choice, I was like, oh, let me look this up. Equals 3. And then I saw Ray, and I realized that I've seen this guy like a lot before, and I was like, wait a minute. Wait, and I like found his last video, found his channel, it's like 10.8 million subscribers.
Oh my god.
Clicked on his last video where he's talking about like finding a new host and everything, and it started to dawn on me like, I've seen this show before. I'm taking over this show. And I like, so, had like, not really a panic attack, but definitely a freak out. The panic attack kind of happened later. It was like the day before we started filming.
Right.
We all got, the Equals 3 team all got sushi at this Katsuya place, and there was one moment when it just kind of like all hit me, and I realized like what I was about to jump into, and that there would be no turning back, And then I went into a bathroom, excused myself, and I like really started to have the closest thing I think I've never had a panic attack, but if I had, that would be it. I like really was panicking. And the bathroom was like all mirrors too, so there were like a bajillion Robbies, and I was like, ah! I was like, not a good place to be, but.
Sounds like a scene out of a film.
Yeah, it could have been Martin Scorsese, like, But it was a really, really scary thing, especially that first day was just so nerve-wracking. I thought I did a terrible job, and it was just so new, and it was incredibly difficult. It was hot because of the lights and everything. Right. And then when I was done, I was like, all right, that's it. We'll see what happens. And then it finally released, and people didn't completely hate me. At least I knew, like, some people, of course, did because it's the internet. But the show didn't, like, completely blow up instantly. And then that was really reaffirming, really, really nice. And I'm like, okay, cool. So this could actually possibly work. And it's still nerve-wracking. I mean, now it's kind of just more stressful. We've done 72 episodes
wow,
now.
that's a lot.
So now it's just kind of more stressful, but it was definitely really intimidating the first couple of months. Yeah.
So what exactly do you do? Like, what's like a typical week for you working on? Because I don't personally know.
Okay, so for Equals 3, Kelly and I write the show together. She does a lot of the heavy lifting. She writes a lot of the jokes. I'll go back and forth with her about how I feel about it, and I'll add in my little personal sides and kind of rephrase things and modify it. So she and I will, this is how it is now. We used to do everything like one day, and that was crazy. Wow. So now we do it differently. We're on Sunday, we hop on the phone and we choose the videos together. We decide what videos we want for Tuesday's episode, what videos we want for Friday's episode. We send it to the executive producer and she approves them. Great. Then Kelly gets a head start to outline the first episode. And then on Monday we go in and we she writes it, she writes the thing, or sorry, we watch the videos together, get full input and everything, give Kelly some ideas. That way I'm in the room, I can go back and forth with her, she writes it, then I go back and forth with her again, then I rewrite it, and then we shoot. And it takes about 90 minutes to shoot an episode, yeah.
So throughout the week, are you kind of constantly tracking new YouTube videos and what's the most popular on the internet right now? Yeah,
it's been a really interesting thing. I'm really new to YouTube. I mean, like YouTube, like 2009, I kind of knew, but YouTube, like 2014, I didn't know at all. And so I've been trying to like, okay, all right, PewDiePie has how many subscribers now? Like that's crazy. Right. And finding out like what's popular on the internet. There's this weird thing where like there are channels where they just open toys. And they're like, they take toys out of boxes and talk about them, and that is like what's trailing PewDiePie.
Wow.
And as like the most popular thing on the internet right now. So like that's really important for me to know, and what else is out there, who else is out there. So I've been trying to catch up without like getting addicted, without like letting my own stuff fall by the wayside. But like I can, doing a little bit of research here and there is really important.
And I feel like you play so many different types of characters on this show. Like
yes.
You're kind of always like impersonating a different type of person. Do you have a favorite impersonation that you've done or a favorite character that you've played?
Yes, I definitely do. One of my favorite characters that, for Pussy Penguin for the longest time, which of course, classy name, was my favorite character because he was this drunk mascot that worked at that promoted a strip club called the Pussy Penguin, and which is just so bizarre in the first place. But so like he was my favorite for a while until we ran into his arch nemesis, the Bear-Ass Bear, who he just what he does is he just wears a bear hat and then he's like naked as far as you know, and then he talks like this, and he's the Bear-Ass Bear, and he's like at this club, and I happened because like there was some guy dancing and we're like. And we speculated, and then Kelly was like, oh my God. And she came up with the idea for the Bear-Ass Bear, and it was brilliant. So I think those two are my favorite. Creepy Dad's great, he's one of my favorite. That guy is great. Yeah, we do have favorites we like to go back and forth on. Barry Bookworm. I love Barry Bookworm. Oh. He's a guy that explains, either will explain jokes or slang or something like that, and he comes in, but he's also like weirdly persistent, like he wants to be in the show all the time. So he's just, I'll be in the corner, you can get me when you need me, and he goes off and he's fun. Anyway, so yeah.
So you kind of have to be ready for anything.
Oh, totally. Oh my gosh.
Dive into the moment.
My favorite thing about it especially is like we'll do voiceover jokes where I'm like acting as the horse. And I'm like, okay, what's a horse voice? Yeah. Like, how do I impersonate a horse? I've had to do it with inanimate objects where I'm like, it's like, okay, and then like the tree says this, and I'm like, how does a tree sound? Like, I have to answer that question to some extent, and sometimes I'll do my regular voice just a little bit modified, but sometimes, horse is kind of similar to Richard Nixon, so it'll be kind of like, don't go in there, like, and it's like, with the cheeks. And so, like, having to figure that out, you do just kind of, like, get ready for anything.
Some real method acting in there, I see.
Real method acting,
the techniques.
Yeah, that's fun.
You've had a lot of like guests come on the show or introduce the show.
Yeah. That hasn't happened for a really long time, but we did the first, like, 30 episodes? Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, do you feel like is there really a YouTube community? Like, I feel like I watch YouTube videos and they're like, oh, like, I love the YouTubers and stuff like that, but do you feel like you kind of fit in with that, or like,
that's a really good question. There is a YouTube community, there totally is. You'll see collaborations all the time. Me being on Equals 3 is kind of a new beast because now it's a production. A lot of YouTubers are kind of like they do it themselves.
Right.
And I think Equals 3 is the first time that a YouTuber has handed off a show to somebody else and to a new crew. And the Equals 3 crew is a completely new crew. We're all building together. so even though we kind of have like street cred, we're not really like constantly hanging, I don't know, maybe Ray is, but like personally right now, I'm not like constantly hanging out with YouTube people. But that being said, I do collaborate. I've been on the Young Turks network, which is really fun, TYT. I've been with the Fine Brothers who do like YouTubers React and all that, and those guys are great. They're awesome, they're really fun people. And I've kind of like found certain YouTubers, but again, you have to like meet them. I met up with Matthew Santoro for lunch one time, which is great. He's a Canadian YouTuber. But as far as like a YouTube community, I feel like there's some people that they grew up in this together, and those people have really strong bonds. And I feel like maybe as I kind of get bigger and I'm doing my own stuff, I would break into that a little bit more. But currently, not so much. Currently, it's I'm feeling out and finding my own people. Yeah.
So this is kind of a very new lifestyle for you, I guess.
No, yes.
Is it hard to keep up with all this, the filming, the collaborations, the writing, and then keeping up with your fans? I'm sure like tracking that on social media, like responding to that.
Yeah, social media takes up a strangely large amount of time. I've had to just like block slots where I'm like social media at this time, boom, and then done, you know, and then step away from it. I'm not necessarily like constantly running around, but I am constantly worrying about things and having multiple things going on. And especially in LA where you have to commute everywhere, you do have to really like, this is this time, great. Then I have to drive like either 45 minutes or 2 hours to this place. So I end up like having some downtime, but with that downtime, it's always been allocated to something. It's always been allocated to me writing possibly a sketch that I want to do, writing a video blog that I want to do, or editing on my laptop, or filming on my own personal videos, or I'm going back and forth with this guy that might want to work with me on this, or I'm going to classes and things like that. So I do keep busy, but at first actually that was kind of hard to do. It's like, all right, =3 is going on, and what else? You know, and I had to kind of figure it out. So now I am kind of getting busy and momentum. It's mostly, I think, the harder thing was like the pressure of it. For like those first 6 months was really, really hard to kind of keep swimming and not, you know, like it's a tough mental battle, especially when you're dealing with the internet. And you know, when you yourself are kind of really self-conscious already, and then someone points out exactly what you're self-conscious about, like it is an emotional battle. It takes a lot of energy.
I feel like you're handling it well, though. I mean, I see things that you post on Instagram occasionally, and there was one in particular which I'll bring up. It was people were making fun of, I guess, the length of your neck, and so you took a picture with some giraffes, and you were like, "I found my people."
My family, yes,
and I thought that was so funny because I'm like, you're taking something that. I mean, obviously, I don't know your insecurities, but you're taking something that someone is making fun of you for and making fun of them almost.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was a great experience.
Yeah, and I think that's the only way to deal with it. You know, is that you let the tides coming in, right? You're not going to be like, no, I don't have a long neck. You're like, great. You step out of the way and you surf the wave. You know, you don't get in the way of that. And so yeah, I've had to deal with that with multiple things, but I like to think I'm handling it well. I'm like happy. I'm not like horribly depressed at home, like reading through notifications on Twitter, like no, I am really happy, and I've gotten really adjusted to it. But it did take a lot of time to adjust to that. Yeah,
definitely. And I know that we were talking about this earlier, but the fact that you're kind of starting to be recognized now when you go out in public. Do you have any crazy fan stories?
Ooh, I had one guy, I was at Amoeba Records, and he kind of grabbed my shoulder and got really close, and I mean, he was nice, it was great, it was fine, but he was a little intense and a little close, that I kind of had to like navigate out, and then I kind of looked at my friend. I'm like, "Hey, you really want to be in Amoeba Records right now, or do you want to get some ice cream?" Kind of a thing. But you know, and I did, you know, I talked with him for a little bit, and then he kind of like didn't seem to leave. You know, usually when a fan comes up, you know, he just, like, "Hey, I just want to say I'm a really big fan," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you, man, thank you," and shake his hand and you know, get a picture with him, get his name or something like that, and then usually they're like, "All right, great, thank you so much," and then they go. This guy didn't. He just kind of like hung around, and I was like, well, you know, I really like I had to find an out because I was like, what do I do? What do I do right now? And my friends are right there, and they're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
So I guess that was kind of a crazy one, but I also got, this is just crazy and like, not like, oh, they're crazy, but it was just crazy. My mom ran a marathon on Sunday, so we went out to support her and everything, and I got recognized by 3 marathoners.
Really?
So like while they were running the race, they saw me, stopped, walked over to me, and I was like at the 21-mile mark, and they were like not even, they're just like perfectly composed. They're like, hey, are you Robby Motz from Equals 3? I was like, do you want me to go with you? Like, while we take a picture? I was like, are you sure you want to stop? And then he's like, oh no, it's great to meet you. Can I get a picture? And I was like, yeah, but don't you, okay, you know?
Fan, I guess.
Yeah, but, you know, and then like that kid was like 14, he was running this marathon. I'm like, I should be honored to meet you. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. And like, it happened 3 times, which I was like, wow.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was really cool though, and I was like, I'm proud of my fan base right now. 3 of them just ran a marathon.
You seem to be getting a lot of support, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm surprised sometimes. Actually, not sometimes. A lot of the time, I'm like, really? Like, I'm surprised people like me even that much. Like, wow, you know. Thank you to people who like me. That's really nice. And again, sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure why, but it's incredibly. That's how I keep going. Realistically, like that's what helps me get up in the morning and say, okay, I'm going to be on camera in front of 1 million people. It's those people that support me that let me not crawl into a ball and die, you know, like out of just anxiety and fear. So because of that, you know, those tweets and everything, they really do mean a lot. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you go to class sometimes. Have you figured out what you're doing? Like, are you coming back to Muhlenberg? Like, what's your game plan,
class, I mean as in like acting classes.
Acting classes,
and classes over at Groundlings and different improv, things like that. And that's kind of my focus. And ideally I would like to do like voice lessons and dance classes, but I'm one human, and one human with a certain amount of money too. Yeah. So that's kind of where like all my income is going, is to those classes and everything. As far as education goes, for now, I'm kind of putting it off indefinitely. Yeah. I'm getting like sort of education like through like podcasts and things like that, and I'm reading books, even about like really boring stuff. Like I have this Roman civilization timeline book thing that like for some reason I just read it. Yeah, you know what I do? I put it on the toilet in my bathroom, and I just like that is my education time right there, and learning about Rome. The thinking man, quite literally. Anyway, but I'm not sure when I would go back. It would probably be as if things were to cool off and I felt like this, you know, I don't know. I think I'll know when it comes. There'll be kind of like this, like, you know, it'd be a really good time to go back to school now. But right now, things are still kind of going.
And when you attended Muhlenberg, you were part of the improv group here, MIA, correct?
And the sketch comedy group as well, Fun with Science.
Right, yeah. Do you think that kind of helped you for Equals 3? Or, I mean, at least gave you some sort of knowledge that you didn't have before about this improv and everything?
Absolutely. I think both of those things really helped me. MIA really helped me with my confidence with improv, because I didn't even know that I could do it, you know, and then that was a really great building process, especially among your peers. Where they were like, no, you are really good at this. I'm like, really? Because I feel like and they're like, what are you talking about? You know, and so that kind of gave me a little bit more confidence to do improv and comedy improv. Fun with Science, similarly with sketch comedy, I learned a lot about, you know, structure of sketches and things like that. And that also, like, I can write comedy really well. And that definitely came in handy when they were like, yeah, we also want you to help write the show. And I was like, don't you want to see anything that I've written before ever? You know, they just like, they just handed that to me, and I was like, well, I'm lucky that I do enjoy this and that I'm good at it, and like I can do it. So that's been really interesting too.
And what was your major when you were here?
It was theater, technically. It was theater, and then I had a double minor in film and religion.
Wow. Interesting.
And I think I was going to bump up religion to a major and just do a double major, and then like film classes whenever I felt like it. But yeah.
So do you have anything new going on in the works? Are you still...
Yeah.
You said you work on a lot of your own stuff.
Yes.
Talk a little about that.
Absolutely. So I tried this, like, the first 6 months of Equals 3, I tried doing some video blogs, and because I didn't know how to edit, and because I didn't know how to light and sound and all that, like I wasn't putting them up on a consistent basis at all. I put up like 3 videos over the course of like 6 months. And so I was like, okay, I have to just like get something down. So I started these like car vlogs where when I commute to work, it usually takes a good hour or so. And so I have a GoPro in my car and I put it on with a low lav and then I record myself talking about a topic, and those are pretty simple to edit. You know, there's no graphics or anything like that. It's just me talking, and it's purely so fans can get to know me better. I'm not expecting people to be like, "This is so entertaining," because it kind of like it's just me, you know, explaining something in a car. And so that's what I've been doing since about January. I've every Wednesday put those out consistently, which is great. And so now I kind of got a handle on that. Now I'm looking to expand out a little bit more. I'm coordinating with a YouTuber in New York, and we're going to do a Los Angeles versus New York kind of video blog thing, which will be more fun. I also filmed a sketch with this guy that I met through a mutual friend who wanted to direct more. So I pitched him this sketch that I wrote, and he was like, "Great, I want to do it." So that's going up on my channel probably around early April. I'm really excited for it. That actually was elaborate. Like I cast people from my acting classes and groundlings for it. We had like 8 actors in it or something like that, and a crew and everything with like a boom pole that I had bought and everything, which was really cool. Fake blood. So it's really fun, and those are the kind of things that I would love to do on a consistent basis. However, where my channel is right now, I can't afford to pay anybody. There's not enough revenue coming in where I could pay someone and say like, hey, prioritize my project over whatever the heck you're doing. So, so that's something I eventually would want to get to doing more. But for now, the video blogs are great, and I want to build my channel more until there is a steady stream of revenue coming, and then I want to pay people to help me make videos. That's kind of what my goal is right now.
Awesome. And have you been auditioning professionally like your whole life? Is
No.
this something that just started? How long have you been auditioning professionally for?
I started my junior year of high school, and that's when my manager picked me up, saw me in a production that I did in high school, and we also went to church together, so she knew me. So she picked me up. I started auditioning just during the summers, not during the school year, because that was crazy and academics were important to me. Every summer I would go out for auditions. That would be when I get submitted and everything. And that's when Equals3 came around after sophomore year. I was going on auditions that summer and went on that audition for Equals3. And so I've been auditioning since, basically, for whenever I can, as long as it's not in conflict with Equals3, as long as it doesn't film. And that's the thing, is like if it films on Monday, then I can't do it, which oftentimes I think is a deal breaker. But for commercials and things that are usually 1 or 2 day shoots, you know, those would be great to book, would be nice. And so those are the kind of things that I go out for now. Though I find it just so much more satisfying when I make my own thing. You know, auditions are so, like whatever happens in that room, right? You know, they don't know you, they don't know how you work, you know, or if you're even a nice person, they're getting essentially a cold reading or hastily prepared thing, 2-minute introduction. You're reading with someone who isn't necessarily that interested in like acting out the words. Sometimes they just like read it coldly, just plainly, and you're like, I can't react off of you if you just like, yeah, thank you, and you're like,
where do I go from
here? You're trying to, you know, like, and so that's challenging. Making your own thing, though, writing something and having it actually become a real, tangible video, that's really satisfying to me. So that's what I want to do more of.
Yeah, like watching your own work come to life.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's such a
it's really fun, especially when you get to like kind of mess with it as you're going along.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And then you have so much freedom too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really fun to to be able to kind of say whatever you want, and you know, because you don't, you know, it's like, oh, let me go ask the writer. Me, you know, and so you can just do, you know, improvise and all that. So that's really fun to do.
That's awesome.
So where are you hoping that life goes for you from here?
That's the thing. I want to pursue this business, you know, in any way that I can. So I think before being a YouTuber and being an actor, were different things, right? They're really separate. And I think more and more we're going to kind of see those things not be so different. So I want to continue doing my YouTube stuff. I want to continue to learn how to edit, how to film, direct, write, produce, kind of learn everything in that. And get better and better at that. I would love to see a steady income coming from my YouTube channel. Would love to book a couple of commercials or whatever that's out there. And then just also meet people. That's what Hollywood is. Your resource, as much as money and time and energy, is the people you meet. And so I want to meet more people that are interested in filming and directing and all that, and who are able to do it for free as well. That's the other thing. You know, a lot of people are working like 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and I'm like, do you want to spend some more time on a thing that won't pay anything? Is a little bit challenging. So just looking to build that momentum until I can start paying people, and then God knows from there. But I think I want to simultaneously pursue entertainment, YouTube, and in that style, and then also acting, because acting is a passion of mine, and writing, because writing is also a passion of mine, and then we'll see what else.
Awesome, and I'm sure everybody in the Muhlenberg community is curious, but if you had to pick one thing that you miss most about this school, what would it be?
Oh God, one thing. It's funny because like I thought the food was way better before I left. Like I came back and I was like, oh, it's not as good as I remember it, but it is. It's good. It's good.
This is doable. But.
Yeah, definitely good. But oh gosh, what I miss about it, I think. I mean, my friends for sure. That was one thing. I'm not sure if people really understand. Like when they hear that I left school to pursue YouTube, they're like, "That must be fun and woo and all responsibilities gone away." No, it's more that I left all my friends to do this. You know, and the track that I was on, I consider it like I gave this up. It's not like, oh yay, I got out of school. It's like no, I gave this up. I also love learning. I really do. That's why I have a freaking Roman like civilization book on my toilet. But I love learning in a classroom as well. And this is a place where the only thing you have to worry about is bettering yourself and learning and developing your skills. And that will never happen ever again after this time. So I do miss that. I miss the community. There's always something happening. You can't not be on this campus and have people right there constantly to interact with, or clubs or things. That's why so many of us are so busy, is because we just run into each other constantly. It's like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Okay, that sounds cool. You take 3 steps down academic row, and someone else is like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Do you want to be in it? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then you just like, there are things constantly happening, and it definitely kind of slows down when you're like in your actual home in LA. You're not constantly running into people to say hi to,
well, now
things
they're
like
fans,
that.
I guess.
Yeah, sometimes, but I'm not gonna hang out with my fans necessarily, because like I think that would just be disappointing for the fan. It'd be like, really? Oh, like, oh, I actually have friends I need to go. I need to, But I would say the number one thing, I can't really choose, but the classroom environment, and dedicating all my time to learning, and then the friends that I've had to say goodbye to, unfortunately, like you guys.
Yeah, we miss you.
I miss you guys too. I miss everyone that in our Acting 1 class, Acting 2 class, and yeah.
But we're glad that you made it back to visit.
Yeah, me too, for sure. It's been really great.
And that you did this interview for us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, if we can ask one last question.
Go for it.
If you were to give any piece of advice to other actors or future YouTubers, what would it be?
Okay. I'm so experienced. But no, seriously, I think one thing that I really, really do, I think before I was like, I'm gonna be an actor. Okay, that's great in theory, right? Like, I'm gonna be an actor. You have no idea what you're actually, like, what's gonna be handed to you. Cast a wider net. Be an actor and a writer. Be an actor and an editor. Be an actor and a director. Learn all the trades that you are interested in. If you don't wanna direct, then don't direct, great. But try it. Find out if you don't wanna do that. Same with writing, because when it comes down to it, the thing that's gonna make you successful is whatever it is that happens to make you successful, cast a wide net. So for me, like, now I'm learning how to write and edit and all that stuff. If I knew that beforehand, great, I probably could have jumped in and made videos a lot sooner with a lot less trouble. But I've had to really kind of play the catch-up game, and I found out that I really enjoy all of these things. I'm like, why haven't I been doing all these things? I thought I was going to be an actor, which is, you know, like, again, theoretically, great. You go in for an audition, you get something great. If you can make your living as only an actor, you are unbelievably lucky. I am unbelievably lucky where I am right now, I know that, but there are very few people who can do that. Yeah. But there are a lot of actors who aren't necessarily an actor and a waitress, they're an actor and an editor, or they're an actor and a PA. And that way you're actually like still in the industry and you're constantly meeting people who are working on projects. And that's the best way to get cast, is meeting someone in another way, and because that way you know how they work too. You know if you want to work with them. Right. And then doing that project, rather than going out for an audition, and that's, like, you know, you might finally book something and you're like, yes, and then it's the worst project ever, and you're like, why did I do this? Yeah. It's because you met them through an audition, and there's only so much you can know about that person. So, yeah, be multi-talented, multi-skilled, multifaceted.
Right. Well, it was so great having you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching The Late Show with NBC. I'm Katie Mitchell.
And I'm Emily Mebin. Have a good night.
I'm the bear ass bear. My ass is bare and cold. Cuddle it.
Unlucky.